In this video, we will show you how to use the UrbanPro live tools to teach online. We will be covering points such as how to find students who want to study online, how to add students to your tutor account, how to schedule and conduct an online class, how to manage the class calendar and attendance, how to share content with students, and finally, how to collect payments from students. Okay, so let's get started. When we speak of online tutoring, a very common reaction we've seen is that tutors feel that it is very complicated because it might involve different software and things like that. But what we're going to show you today is that it really is not that difficult. Having said that, let's start talking about teaching online. Now, the very first thing you need to understand about teaching online is that the only thing that has changed is the medium through which you deliver the learning. And what that means is that earlier, where you used to have a classroom with a blackboard behind you and the students in front of you, now the classroom is a virtual classroom, and the students your blackboard and all the other things have been replaced by a virtual whiteboard. But the subjects, the material, and the learning is still the same. Now, when it comes to online teaching, what you need to remember is that you're going to need four main things to accomplish it. And the first of these is going to be the tutors, which is you yourselves. The second is going to be experience, where you are actually looking at the experience that you are delivering to the students. The third is going to be content, which you can share with students, which will need to be inspiring and engaging and motivating. And the fourth thing that you will need is a set of tools which can help you teach online. But before you can start using the tools which you can use to teach online, what you need to know is that you're going to need two other things to start teaching. And the very first is going to be a way to find students who want to study online. And the second is going to be a way to add students to your account. So what we're going to do now is take a closer look at these two things, and we'll start with a way to find prospective students wanting to study your subjects online. And to show you how this works, I'll quickly switch over to the website and see how this works. Okay, so here we are, and I'm logged into my account. Now what I'm going to do is, from the menu on the left, I'll click on profile, and then I will click on the second option called classes conducted. When I click on that, I can see that the very first option of subject over here, class 1 through 5 tuitions, it says that I am willing to teach this subject at my home and at the student's home, but it doesn't say online. So we're going to change that. And how we do that is by clicking on the subject and then clicking on class information, and then looking for this option of how would you like to conduct your classes. And under that, the very first option is I can teach live online using Skype or Zoom, etc. So we will check that option and go to the bottom and click on Save Changes. On the next screen, we click on Done. And now if we look where it said at my home and at student's home, it also says online now. So what this means is that if there is any student who is looking for classes 1 through 5 tuitions and wants to study them online, then those inquiries will also be directed to you. Okay, so the next thing we need to talk about is a way to add students to your account to start teaching them. Now, this is an advantage that you get from UrbanPro, and it is that you are free to use UrbanPro tools to teach students that you may have gotten from outside of UrbanPro, which could mean that you got them through your friends or family referring them to you, or it could be your older students referring the new students to you. Now, if you have students like this, then you would definitely need to add them to your accounts before you can start teaching them. So let's go ahead and go back to the website and see how we can do that. Okay, so to add new students, we'll go to our dashboard, and then we will click on the second tab called Students. Now, under this tab, we can see that there is an option on the right-hand side which says Add Student. So if we click on that, we will be given a form where we can enter the name, the phone number, and the email address of the student. And then we can also enter some subject class related information like how we will be teaching them. So let's say online, how we will be charging them, and how many, it could be monthly, hourly, or by the course, and how many classes we'll be conducting for them, and how much we're actually going to charge them. And once that is done, we can even select the subject that we're going to be teaching them and then click on add. And once you click on add, the student will be added to your account and will start showing up under your students tab over here. And you will then be able to go ahead and schedule classes and all that for this particular student. Now, this needs to be done only for students who are not from the UrbanPro network, as in you did not get them through UrbanPro. For students who you got through UrbanPro, they will get added to your accounts automatically. Okay, so the next thing now we need to come to are actually the tools that you're going to be using to teach online. So there are four tools which you're going to use to teach online. The first of them is a high quality two-way audio video system with an integrated whiteboard and video and screen sharing. And the second tool is a class calendar where you can go ahead and schedule, reschedule, or even cancel classes if needed, along with being able to manage the attendance of the students. And the third tool is the content tool, which allows you to share content with your students in the form of important points, class notes, tests, assignments, etc. Now, the fourth tool available to you is the simplified payments system, which basically allows you to collect payments from students through UrbanPro. And why this is an important tool for you is because in the world of online tutoring, there may be an instance where you end up teaching a student whom you've never met before. Now, in this situation, you as tutors may not be comfortable taking payments after all the classes are done, but at the same time, students may not be comfortable making payments before all the classes are done. So what we do in this scenario is that we offer you a payment system where we collect the payment on your behalf from the student, hold it in escrow, and then transfer it to your account. Okay, so now what we're going to do is take a closer look at each one of these tools individually. And we start with the high quality two-way audio video system. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch to the website, and I'm going to schedule a class, launch that class, and then conduct that class, have a student join it, and then show you how to teach that class and eventually end it. Okay, so let's get started with that. So here we are back in our accounts, and we have clicked on dashboard and then on the students tab. So now we need to find a student to schedule a class for. So I'll scroll through my list of students and I'll pick this student over here by the name of Pratik. So once I click on him, I can see the three tabs, the schedule, content, and info tabs. And I can see that there are no classes scheduled for this particular student. So I can go ahead and schedule a class for them to start with. Okay, so to do that, I can click on the blue button which says schedule a class, or I can click on the text which says schedule class. Either of them is fine. So I'll go ahead and click on one of them, which then gives me this screen where I can actually go ahead and select a start or an end time for my class. I can choose to schedule one class or multiple classes at the same time. And I can even add more students if I need to. So let's go ahead and schedule a class and see how all this works. So we'll say that we are going to conduct a class from 5:25 p.m. to, let's say, 7 p.m. So we make it 7:25 p.m., even 2 hours. Okay. So now that I have my start and end time set, I can schedule this class to repeat on multiple days or just schedule the single class. Now, if I want to schedule it on multiple days, I come to the repeat option and I click on the drop down under which I get the repeat this class option. So if I click on it, I can see all the days of the week already shown over here. So let's suppose my agreement with the student is that I will teach him on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. So I will leave Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday selected, and I will deselect Monday, Tuesday, and I'll make sure even Saturday and Sunday are not selected. So now I need to decide how many classes to schedule. So let's say I want to schedule 9 classes for this student. I'll come to end, and under the option after, I'll enter the number 9. So now if I click on done, what will happen is that the system will schedule a class on every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday for the next 3 weeks till the 9 classes are over. Now let's suppose that my deal with the student was slightly different and I have agreed to teach them for an entire month, right? So if I want to do that, then I just need to select the option on and click on the date shown over here, which will open the calendar. Now, since we're teaching the student for a month, then we need to go to the next month. So today is October the 7th. So we'll go to November and we will select November the 7th. And when we select it and click on done, what will happen is that the system will schedule a class on every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday till the 7th of November. So it could be 2 weeks of classes, 3 weeks of classes, 4 weeks of classes, whatever the case may be. Of course, in this demonstration, I'm just going to schedule the one class. So over here, I'll just click on cancel and come back to this screen. And to schedule just a single class, I'll click on the repeat drop down again and switch it to doesn't repeat. Now let's suppose I have another student who could also benefit from this class and I want them to attend it. So I can add them as well to this class. And to do that, all I have to do is start typing their name in the search box here. So if their name is Amit, I type in Amit and there the name has been suggested. So I can quickly add them also to this class. Now to schedule the class, I'll click on save. And the moment I do, an email, an SMS, and a notification will be triggered to all the students, informing them that I have scheduled a particular class at a particular date and time. And if there are multiple classes, then it will also share the rest of the schedule with them. Along with the schedule, the system will also send them a link which they can use to actually join the class. Now that the class has been scheduled, we can finish the process by just closing this window. And as we can see over here under upcoming, it is showing a new class which is scheduled for 5:25 p.m. today. Now to launch this class, there are 2 or 3 options. And the first option which you can see right here is this launch class button, which is present over here and will allow you to launch the class. Now, if you navigate away from this page, then you will be able to launch the class using the countdown timer and the launch class button on the bottom right hand side of the screen. Now there's a third option which sits in the calendar option, but I'll show you that in a short while. But for now, let's go ahead and launch this class. So when I click on launch class, a new tab will open and I will be shown all the details of my class, which is about to start. And I can see here that there are 2 students and it's going to start at 5:25, which is 2 minutes and 10 seconds from now. Now, before I go ahead, let's suppose a scenario where one of your students has got in touch with you and said that they cannot find the email or the SMS which had the link for them to join the class. So in that case, all you need to do is from this screen, click on copy invite links, which will then open up a list of all the students who are joining the class. And then you can click on the copy invite link text under any of the students' names to send them their invitation link for the class. Once you copy the link, you can send it to them via SMS or WhatsApp or email or however you would like. Now let's suppose a second scenario where you suddenly remember just before the class that you need to give one of your students some special instructions. So if that is something that you need to do, then all you need to do is instead of going through your phone book on the phone, you can just click on the phone icon, which will then display the phone number of the student to you, and you will be able to dial the number and speak to them. So the next thing we need to do is we need to copy the host key. The host key is this 6-digit number, which is shown on the screen. And this is a very important number because this is what is going to allow you to take control of the class. So you can either make a note of it somewhere or you can click on the little icon next to it to copy it. And once it is copied, you can click on launch class and the class will begin. Now, before we launch the class, I'll let you know that we use an integration with Zoom to bring you the audio video part of the class. And the only thing you need to do to use this tool is to actually download and install the Zoom software on your laptop, PC, or device. And you don't actually need to create an account on Zoom for this to work. We're just going to click on open Zoom meetings. And the next thing we're going to do is join with video. Okay, so once we've clicked on join with video, we will click on join with computer audio. The next thing we're going to do is from the options at the bottom, we're going to click on the first one called participants. And then in the new panel, which opens on the right, I'm going to click on the three dots and click on claim host. And I can now enter the host key we copied earlier and become the host of the meeting. So as you can see on the right hand side, it says that I am the host now. Okay, so the next thing what we need to do is start setting up the class. Okay, so the first option that we have now gotten as hosts of the class is a set of security options. And the first security option available to us is lock meeting. So what lock meeting will do is if you click on it, then it will prevent anybody from joining your class. So this is very useful once everybody who's supposed to be a part of your class has joined your class, then you can lock your classroom so that no unauthorized person can join it. Now the second option here is enable waiting room. And what this will do is that anybody who wants to be a part of the class will have to be permitted by you to actually enter the class. So we always enable the waiting room. Now the next set of options under security are related to the participants, where you can allow or disallow them to share your screen, share their screen, chat with you, rename themselves, or unmute themselves. The next thing to know is that whenever a class is launched, it starts getting recorded automatically. So if you are not comfortable with having your classes recorded, then you can use the stop recording button on the bottom right hand side, second option from the right, to prevent a recording from being generated. However, what we do recommend is that you don't stop the recordings, because once the class is over, the recording of your class is shared with the students, which they can then use for the purpose of revisions. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is check out the invitation options. So you can actually invite students to join your class even through Zoom. And to do that, all you need to do is click on invite, which allows you to copy the invitation link or copy the invitation itself and send it to your student via an SMS or an email or WhatsApp. Once that is done, then you need to decide whether you would like to have the students in your classroom muted or not. To change that setting, all you need to do is click on mute all over here, and you will get this message where it will ask you that if participants should be allowed to unmute themselves. You can disallow them that and click on yes. So now everybody in your classroom is muted. If you want to give them the ability to unmute themselves, then you can come to security and click on unmute themselves. Before we start teaching using these tools, let me quickly just sign into this class from my mobile and show you what the waiting room and the student in the class experience is like. Okay, so now if you see on the right hand side, it says that Pratik wants to join the class, and you can either admit them or remove them. We're going to go ahead and click on admit. Okay, so now the class is completely set up. So now we need to see how we can actually teach using this tool. So to do that, the very first thing we can do is click on this big green share screen button over here and click on the second option called Whiteboard and click on share. Now that we have the whiteboard open in front of us, we can draw on it and use this to draw diagrams and explain concepts to our students. So what I'll do is I'll quickly draw an example over here. Oops, sorry. Let's suppose we are talking about the concept of a simple lever with our students. So I'll draw that for them. Okay, so the post will be applied here and action will happen over here. Okay, so I have drawn my diagram. Now I may want to label things. So to do that, I'll just click on the text option over here on top and I can start labeling things. So this is where the quotes will be applied and this is the fulcrum. So we will label it as an F and this is the load. So we call it the load over here. Right. So now show you what it looks like to the student when you are using these tools to teach them. I'll just share the screen of my phone with you. So as you can see, the student on their device can also see whatever you have drawn on your screen. Okay, so now once you're done using this drawing, if you want to clear it, all you need to do is come to the bucket icon and click on clear all drawings. And once you're done using the whiteboard, you can just click on stop share and it will stop sharing your screen. Now, the second way in which you can use this tool to teach is if you use things like PDF files, Word documents, or images. So if you want to share that with a student while the class is going on, then all you need to do is open that file on your system and then click on share screen once again. And then over here, you can see under photos, there is a photo which I have opened, which I intend to use to share with my students. So I'll select that and I'll click on share. And once I do that, the students will also be able to see that image on their screen. Here we go. We can see on my phone that the student can see that image as well. Okay, so another thing you can do while teaching using the image that you're sharing is to actually draw on the image to call their attention to certain parts of the image. So how you can do that is to go to the menu on the top and click on the annotate option, which then opens up the familiar drawing tools for us. And you can use those to actually draw on this particular image. So let's say I'm trying to tell my students that I'm talking about the second case, which is an addition reaction, and I want them to pay attention to the double bond here because once the reaction is done, it will turn into a single bond. So now, and once I'm done teaching them with these examples to clear the drawings, all I have to do is once again come to the bucket icon and click on clear all drawings, and that will clean up the image once again. And as usual, to stop sharing this image, all I have to do is click on stop share. Now, the third option which you can use while using these tools is to actually use a physical whiteboard, which you can write on and then hold up to the camera, or even a notebook for that matter, which you have written in and then hold it up to the camera to show your students what you're talking about. And as you are doing all these, one recommendation from us is to use something known as a digital pad and pen, which is basically a device which you can plug into your laptop or your PC via a USB connection. And that allows you to basically draw and create diagrams on the whiteboard, which look way more professional. So what you saw me do was draw using a mouse, which was quite untidy. But if you want your classes to feel very professional and serious, then it is a good idea to use a digital pad and pen as well. Now that we have conducted the class, it is time to end the class. And to end the class, what you need to do is click on the end button on the bottom right hand side. And from the options of leave meeting and end meeting, you want to choose end meeting for all. And why you want to choose end meeting for all is because if you click on leave meeting, then only you leave, the class continues. So we always want to click on end meeting for all. So let's go ahead and end this class. Now we are done with scheduling and conducting our class. So before we move on to the calendar, let's talk a little bit about the Zoom system itself. I'm sure you've all heard a lot about Zoom. And what I can tell you about them is that they have been working a lot on updating their security and making their platform even more secure than it was before. But what we have also done is that we have added another layer of protection over this, where we are actually using unique meeting IDs for every single class that is scheduled. And all the meetings are password protected and nobody knows these passwords because they are already on the system. And unless the meeting ID and the password come together, the class won't work. Now, the next thing is that we have also, in accordance with guidance from the ministry, disabled the option which anybody can use to rejoin a class once you remove them. So what that means is that if you remove somebody from the class, then they cannot rejoin it. Now, what you can do from your side to make sure that your classes remain secure is to, number one, make sure you always enable the waiting room. Number two, lock your meeting room once all the students who are supposed to be a part of it have joined. And number three, always make sure that you claim and maintain the host status of the class, because that will allow you to control who can and cannot share their screens or chat in the class. Okay, so now let's go to the second tool, which is the class calendar and the attendance management system. Now to show you this, once again, I'll switch back to the website. So here we are back in our account. And now what we're going to do is, from the menu on the left, we'll click on the second option, calendar. And when I click on that and scroll down, I can see classes which have been scheduled and conducted in the past. So if I go to the previous week, I can see the class on the 28th, which has already been conducted. And if I come to this week, I can see this class which we just scheduled a short while ago. And any classes which have been scheduled for the coming days will also show on the calendar. Now here I can actually do two things. I can either launch the class or I can edit the class. Let's go ahead and see how that works. So if I click on any of the classes, I will get this option where I can see the students, and I can also see a launch class button, which I can use to start the class. Now, if I want to change anything about this class, then all I have to do is click on edit this class, and I will be able to change the time, the start time and the end time. I can change the repetition options for this class. I can add more students over here using this search bar. And I can also add a brand new student to my account and directly to this class if I want to. So if you remember, I had shown you how you can add new students. So this is the same option available over here. But in this case, what it will do is, once you add the student, not only will it add the student to your account, it will also add them to this class. Along with that, I can also change the students who attend this class. If I want, I can remove anyone from this class, or I can cancel this class altogether if I need to. Now, the main thing to remember with this option is that whenever you make a change to the class, all students who are a part of it will be informed of the change and will also be kept abreast of all information about it. So if you change the date and the time, then they will also be told via SMS or an email and a notification that the class has been rescheduled. So to manage the attendance of your students, you can use the UrbanPro for Tutors app. And how you can do that, I'll just show you. So we'll go to the mobile and we'll launch the UrbanPro for Tutors app. Now over here, I'll once again click on students, and I will actually go through the list of students to find a student whom I need to edit the attendance of. Let's select Pratik over here. Now, if I click on the first tab under schedule, which is past, I'll be able to see the attendance of the student for all the past classes. So let's suppose I want to change the attendance for the class that happened over here on the 25th of September. So to do that, I can just click on this little pen icon, and that shows me all the students who who were supposed to be a part of this class. Now to edit the attendance, I just need to click on edit attendance, and I can now select whoever was absent or present. So let's mark Pratik as absent for this class. Okay, so to save the changes, I'll just click on submit. Now you can see that Pratik has been marked absent for this class. If I just close this screen now, you'll see in a minute that his attendance will be updated to being marked as absent. There we go. It has been changed to absent. Okay, so the next thing you need to know about is the tool which allows you to share content with students. So to do that, let's go back to the website and we'll click on dashboard and then on students, and we'll select a student with whom we want to share the content. Let's select Pratik over here. Okay, now we're going to click on the second tab called content. And what you'll be able to see here is a list of all the content that you have shared with this particular student in the past. So there we go. We can see all the content that we have shared with the student in the past. Now, if I want to restrict the access to this content, all I need to do is click on the lock icon to lock off individual pieces of content that I've shared with them, or I can just click on lock all to restrict their access to all the content, or I can just click on unlock all to give them access to all the content. If I want to share more content with them, I just need to click on add content. And then on the top right hand side, I'll get the option to add more content. Now to add more content, I have the option to share video content, audio, documents, tests, or assignments with the student. Now to share videos, I'll just click on the video option. And now I can give it a name. Let's say it's chemical balancing. Right? So I'll just copy this name because it will come in handy later. So once I've given it a unit name, I can either share a video from YouTube, which in which case I just need to paste the link over here, or I can upload a video of my own. And to do that, I just need to click on upload a new video and then actually select the file and click on save. Now, if I've shared this video in the past with somebody else, I can share it once again. And to do that, I just have to click on use from your files and click on the drop down to select the particular video which I want to share. Now, if I want to share an audio file, once again, from the content, add new content page, I will click on add new and I'll click on audio. And once I click on audio, I can give it a name. And as usual, I can either upload a new audio file to share with the student, or I can use a file which I have shared in the past with some other student. Now, if I want to share content which is like class notes or important points, then I'll need to go to the option to click share documents. And when I click on that, as always, we give it a name, and then I can either upload a brand new document, or I can once again choose a document from a list of documents I may have shared earlier. Now here the main thing you need to remember is that the only supported file format for this system is PDF files. So if the notes or important points that you want to share are in PDF format, then you can go ahead and upload them directly. However, if you do not have them as PDFs and you have them as hard copies, like in notebooks or photocopies, then what you can do is to use any of these apps which are available for phones these days, which allow you to take a photograph and then save that photograph as a PDF file and then upload the file from there. So once you've selected the file or uploaded the file, you can just click on save to actually share the content with the student. The next option is to create a test for the student. Now to create a test, all you need to do is click on test and then decide whether you're going to use an existing text which you may have created in the past, or you can create a brand new one from scratch, in which case you would need to name it, then decide whether it's a practice test or a mock test, select a time limit if you want to, and select if you want to use sections or not. So let's suppose you want to have two sections. The first section could be about chemical balancing, the second simpler equations, the second one could be more complicated equations and things like that. So you can use sections to separate the test. In our case, let's say we don't want to use sections, so I'll just select no and I'll click on next. So once I do that, the test is created. Now I need to add questions to it. Now when it comes to adding questions, I have two options. The first option is if I click on add questions, I can either add a brand new question or I can select questions from other tutors and have them included in my test. So to add questions from other tutors, you just need to select those questions and then on the top right hand side, click on add two questions. So two questions are already added to my test. Now, if I want to add a brand new question, then I'll click on add questions and then click on add new questions, which allows me to select the type, single choice, multiple choice, true, false, listening or speaking. So let's say single choice. And once I select that, I can then start creating the question. Text will go here, and you can define the answers which you want to show for it. So let's say 4 answers. There we go. Okay, so once the answers are selected, I can choose which one of them is the right answer, then add some additional information in the form of an explanation of the answer or a hint, and select a difficulty level and add a tag. And I can also choose whether I want to allow other tutors to be able to use this question or not. Once I'm done, I'll just click on save. And the new question will then be added to the test we just created. Okay. So once all the questions are added, you can just click on done, and the new test will be created and shared with the student. So we can see over here that the new test has been created. There we go. Okay, so now let's talk about sharing assignments. So to do that, we'll click on add new and click on assignment. So when it comes to sharing assignments, as usual, we will put the name of the unit. And we can select PDF file to upload as an assignment, or we can also create it from scratch over here, where you can actually write out the assignment and give all the instructions that you need to. And once you're done, you can click on save, and the assignment will then be shared with the student. Okay, so that was about the content system that you have available to you. So now let's talk about the simplified payment system. Okay, so when it comes to collecting payments from students, what you need to do is go to the mobile app, and here, remember, we are on the students tab and we had selected one of our students. Now to collect the payment, what we need to do is go to the third tab called info. And when we go to info, we'll see two options, student payment and account transfer. So first we'll check out account transfer. When it comes to account transfer, you click on it and you'll be able to see the amounts that have been received from the students and the ones that have been settled to your bank account. Speaking of which, for this feature to work, you will need to link your bank account. And to do that, all you need to do is click on add bank account and fill up the details and click on submit. Now, once you've done that, you can come to student payment and then click on this request payment option and see all the details of the payment which is required. Now, if everything is fine, then you can just click on the copy option over here and share the link which is now being copied with your student. Now, if you need to make changes, you can click on edit and change whichever detail needs to change. So let's make this 11 classes and monthly fee of 11,800. We've given them a discount of 500. So grand total owed to us is 11,300. If everything is fine, I can just agree to the terms and conditions and then click on send payment request. Once I do that, I will get a confirmation over here telling me that the payment request has been sent, and my student will receive an SMS, an email, and a notification informing them that I have requested a payment. Okay, so those were the tools that are available to you as part of the UrbanPro Live suite. Now let's quickly take a look at some of the most common issues that tutors face. A lot of the tutors ask us if after you've scheduled a class, do you need to start Zoom separately? And the answer is no, you don't need to, because once you launch the class using the process I just showed you, then Zoom will start automatically. The second thing is students can be invited directly from Zoom as well, as I showed you. So you don't have to worry about it. If you want, you can copy the invitation information to the class from Zoom and share it with them. Third is sometimes tutors tell us that students are not being able to see them or hear them. Now, when it comes to this, there are a few tips and tricks which you can use to troubleshoot this issue. And the first is to make sure that you join with video and audio when you launch the class. Now, if you've done that, then make sure that your internet is still connected and it's working. And if it is connected and it is working, then check the accessories that you are using to make sure that they are working. If everything is working fine on your side and the students still can't see you or hear you, then you can ask them to follow these troubleshooting tips on their side as well to make sure everything is functioning properly. So the next question that we get very often is about the ownership of the content and the class recordings and their safety. So here I can actually tell you that the content and the class recordings are all owned by you. We don't say that we own the recordings or the content. You own them, so you are free to do with them as you please. And as far as their safety is concerned, they are always maintained on our secure AWS servers, so no unauthorized person can access them. The next question which we get quite often is about not wanting to have your classes recorded. So if that is a concern for you, then you can go ahead and stop the recording the moment you start the class and take over as the host. And if you do need any extra help with literature on how UrbanPro works and how different parts of it work, then please feel free to visit help.urbanpro.com and read any of the many articles available over there.